Diving in a little bit more so specific to corporate taxes here. C Corps may face additional taxes under certain circumstances, such as accumulated earnings tax and the personal holding company tax. It's important for us to consider these. Now, what are these? We'll talk about them. Could these things have been put into the lessons after this? Sure. Just put them in here for various reasons and balancing purposes. Let's go through and talk about them. Now, C corporations can be subject to this accumulated earnings tax if they have retained earnings in excess of $250,000. This tax, why does it exist? Well, even if you disagree with the reason, there is generally a reason why a lot of rules and laws within the tax code exist. It's intended to discourage corporations from accumulated earnings and not distributing them as dividends. We want, as the IRS, to facilitate business, and the more transactions that happen, the more that they can get taxed, and the more money the IRS gets. That's kind of their angle, if you could figure that. So the tax rate is going to be a flat 20%. So again, you want to distribute that money and pay tax on it as dividends. Gosh, just taxes, they just take over. They're everywhere and makes me kind of lose my mind. So for most C corporations, the threshold for retained earnings before being subject to tax is going to be $250, as we see here. Now for personal service corporations, this is something to memorize. Personal service corporations, these are going to be corporations providing professional services like law, accounting, or consulting. That's just a one-off thing to know. I mean, you may see it in a few other lessons, but that's definitely just something to know for sure. The threshold's going to be lower at 150. I wouldn't be too worried about memorizing these numbers. Just know about them generally. Now, the IRS must impose this tax, and it's important for C Corps to monitor their retained earnings and consider distributing excess earnings as dividends in order to avoid the tax. I mean, is this a necessity? Hey, it's the rules. We do our best to follow the rules here. And then what about the personal holding company tax? Well, this concept of a personal holding company, this is something that we talk about throughout the course. We'll see it again and dive into it more in depth. And that's just something also, it's a classification for a company. Well, a C Corp may be considered a personal holding company and subject to additional tax. So you see here, you don't want to be a personal holding company. It's an extra 20% tax on undistributed earnings if it meets the following criteria. Well, more than 50% of the company's outstanding stock is owned directly or indirectly by 5 or fewer individuals during the last half of the tax year, and at least 60% of the corporation's adjusted ordinary gross income is passive income. So really, this is trying to catch some like holding companies, right? If you're familiar with what a holding company is, that's what it is. Generally, you could think of a shell company, if that's another term you might be familiar with. These tests are trying to catch a company as being one of those, and if it is, then you're gonna get slammed with an additional 20% tax. But does this stop corporations from creating massive spiderweb networks of structures, entities who own each other? Not at all. They always get around the IRS. Hey, I've worked in the industry, I know. But we are here to learn the rules, pass the exam. We're not here to complain. I'm not complaining, not at all. To avoid all of these, we have to make sure we manage our proper structure and distribute our income and diversify our income. There's a whole, if you want to become incredibly wealthy, become a tax planner in that industry. Work for a big firm, you'll do well for yourself. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.